And so you wanted to be a boxer, but I think it was around 20 years old, or a fighter, and I think it was around 20 years old, you realized this just wasn't going to be your career path. So you end up teaching boxer-size classes in Boston to some of the locals up until the crew of notorious famed mobster Whitey Bulger pay you a visit. Tell me about how that was kind of a turning point for you.
Well, the way that it worked was, what happened was, yes, I got involved with boxing, and there's a guy named Peter Welsh in Boston that I was partners with, a local fighter there. And what we did was we started this Get Kids Off the Street program. And basically, it was called the Muni, which was the municipal courthouse in Southie. And Peter and I did a deal with the city where we got the space underneath the courthouse, which was all this whole concrete area. We put a ring in there, there were bags and everything else. And what we used to do was we used to bring kids in off the streets, and Boston is very segregated, especially back then. You're talking, back in the late 80s. And we used to bring kids in from all the different areas to come in and box. And we wanted these kids to sort of get to meet each other and respect each other through boxing. Well, it's great, and it's a great thing to do for the kids, but you don't make much money doing it. It was it was a charity thing that we had done. So to pay the bills, we used to bring in businessmen, housewives, whoever it was, and train them to box. And it was basically, we were like personal trainers, but you did boxing. And then through that, we started going out into the health clubs and teaching in the health clubs, and our classes became huge all throughout Boston. And while we were doing this,
some people realized they were becoming
I was actually
huge.
teaching in, can't remember what it was called, but it's in the Boston Athletic Club, which is in South Boston. And one day I'm actually in there teaching a class, and these guys literally walk right into the middle of the class. So, we need to talk to you. I'm like, I'm teaching a class. We need to talk to you. I'm thinking, these guys own the club or something. So I leave the class, I go out and start talking to them, and they start asking me if I know who they are, and I don't. So, and it's not Whitey, but it was Kevin. I'm sure you've heard of Kevin Weeks. It was Kevin Weeks, and that was it, man. They wanted some money, and they walked away that day. And I was thinking, man, I don't even want to know these guys. So.
And you were somebody who was willing to pick a fight with somebody if need be, but this was kind of a whole other level.
You'd have to be brain dead to pick a fight with these
Right.
guys. Back in those days when I lived in Southie, I mean, the whole Whitey Bulger thing was huge. But it was like, I lived in Southie, and there were a lot of people, I'm sure, that dealt with Whitey and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't one of those people. I lived there. I never saw any of that stuff. You heard about stuff. But I had never seen any of that. This was the first time that any of this had ever been anywhere close to me.
What do you do?
I ignored them. I didn't do anything. I wasn't going out of my way to try to bump into them again or to do anything else. And then one day I was sitting in my apartment, and I got a phone call. And they basically told me, we want the money. And I said, I don't have the money. It was $2,500, which was like $25,000 to me in those days. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they said, well, get it from your girlfriend. She doesn't have it. Well, get it from somebody. I'm like, yeah, well, you got till tomorrow. You got till tomorrow, which was a Sunday. The next day was going to be a Sunday. You got till tomorrow at 1 o'clock to give us the money.
What did you think was going to happen?
No, it's nothing good. Nothing good was going to happen at 1 o'clock. So I literally that day, I bought a plane ticket and came back to Vegas.